Good morning. It is a beautiful morning at the end of July. It has been very, very hot this week, but it finally started cooling off a couple days ago when we got some rain, so everything is much happier now. This probably won't be a full tour just because there's a lot to look at, so I'm going to skip some stuff, but there's a couple things that I want to show you. And also we did, throughout the heat, there was a hummingbird. Throughout the super hot week, we did get rain a few times. So despite it being in the 90s and hitting 100, everything's looking okay. So let's take a look around. This has really been the summer for this bed in the front yard. It is looking so pink, and the Joe Pye weed looks great. I did actually top some of the shoots off in spring so that it would spread out a little bit more and the blooming times would be staggered, and I think it worked out pretty well. I'm hoping that will get bigger over the next couple of years. Bee balm looks excellent. There's lots of coneflower. This stuff really, really loves my garden, so it is spreading, and I was able to move some of the new plants around. The hydrangeas are starting to grow. I think these are limelight hydrangeas, but they were here when I bought the house, so I'm not 100% sure. You can see that big one right there is the exact same age, presumably, as this small one, but I moved this small one, so you can see how much that has slowed its growth. And I moved it a couple years ago, so it's still catching up. We have a sand cherry here, and the phlox has been blooming. It's kind of going over now, but it smells really great. And then over here, we finally got rid of the remaining grass. So I no longer have any grass in my front yard. I guess technically my driveway is grass, but the yard part no longer has any grass. And I was able to move plants and got some free ones, so I didn't really have to buy a lot to fill this in. This is a catmint, and you might say, oh, it's looking kind of dead, but down here there's lots of new growth, so it will be just fine. I might actually come in and cut all this off. But that one's doing well, and then a friend of mine bought a new house and is landscaping, and they wanted to dig up everything that was in the old garden, so I got a bunch of free Siberian iris, and I think that's what that is anyway. And also, this is another iris chunk, and also a bunch of the false sunflower that I know is good for our native rusty patch bumblebee. So that is an excellent addition. This is a coneflower I moved from elsewhere. This is a columbine, and like the catmint, obviously it looks a little dead and crispy, but you can see it's got new growth, so it should be just fine. And that's why, like when I divided my hostas, There are ideal times to move plants, and some are more sensitive than others, but a lot of these native plants that we know are pretty tough, if you water them in really well when you transplant them, they'll recover. And even if they don't look great right away, what a plant like this is doing is focusing on the roots. So as long as we know it's alive, it's really doing all the work under here. And then in spring, this is gonna look great. So that is the death of my front lawn, and I'm very happy about it. Never have to drag the lawnmower out here again. This is some penstemon that has gone to seed. I did cut a bunch of the flower heads back. I was hoping that it would get another flush of flowers, and it might yet, but it will self-seed around here. So this is one that I might be able to divide next year. Other things back here, we have the globe thistle that took a couple years to bloom. More coneflower. And this is a black lace elderberry that I put in this pot because I didn't know what else to do with it at the time. Oops. And it's put on so much growth. So I think since it's going to be more temperate this week, I think I might take it out of the pot and move it. Other than that, the front yard is just sort of taking care of itself. I may have mentioned before, but I do not have a spigot out here. So everything has to be watered with water from the rain barrel. And so the plants out here have to be very hardy and very drought tolerant. And it appears to be that they are. Look at them. Okay, let's go look at the backyard now. This is the time of year where there's not always a lot of new things. It's just that everything that is here is kind of going nuts. Or it's done. It's tired because it is, for some plants, it feels like the end of summer. But I know we still have time. This is the first year I have successfully, oh, hello, good morning, spider. This is the first year I have successfully grown verbena from seed, and I really, really love it. I hope that it will self-sow around and continue to spread in the garden, because I think it's just nice to have those little pops of purple. We have a cucumber jammed in here that is doing a great job. I've gotten a few cucumbers already. There's a lot of bee balm back there. That looks really nice. I have continued to deadhead the butterfly bush, and it's putting out some nice growth, which is great. And in here we have green zebra tomato, which is my absolute favorite tomato. I love the big beefsteak and heirloom varieties, and this is an heirloom variety, but it's pretty modest size, and when it's ripe it will get green and yellow, and it's such a good tomato to slice up and put on sandwiches and stuff, and I just love the color, so that's one I always grow. We will go look at, ooh, hello. Look at you. Ooh. Yay. Oh my gosh, look at all these. I did not notice these the other day. Ah, awesome. Cool. We should have some nice garish gladiola soon. Okay, back to the vegetable garden. What are you? This looks like maybe coneflower? I'm not entirely sure. All right, back in the veggie patch. This is Mai Tai, and she's about 4 feet tall right now. So she should be blooming soon, which is great. I did want to show you this gal over here. This is the first bloom from Michaela Miranda, and that is a Swan Island dahlia. And over here in the pots, we've got some of the canna blooming. Ugh, stop yourself. Look at that. That is just too much. And over here we have some more dahlias that are about to bloom. This one is, oh shoot, Lollipop. And we also have some blooms on Cornell, and I don't remember who this is back here, but they are all going to bloom soon. So once we have some more dahlia blooms, we will do a little dahlia tour. And this one is Rip City. I did already get a bloom off that one. It was really early, and so I cut it right away just to keep it flowering. Where was I? Canna. Okay. She looks fabulous. She's killing it. There's another canna here that, ooh, look at that. Should have flowers very soon. I don't remember what kinds of cannas these are. There's a really cool one back here that I've been very excited about. I had to cut some stuff down because she was not getting enough sunlight and was growing very slowly. So hoping, since I cut some other stuff back, she will put some growth on soon, because look at that stripy leaf. That is so cool. And I don't, like I said, I don't remember what these are called. I do know one of them is Montana, which I just love because they are canna Montana. And there's another one here. This bed has given me some trouble. It's newer in the last couple of years. The sedum Autumn Joy is doing great, just like it always does. It's such a trooper. And actually the honeysuckle vine that I planted here this year is doing pretty well. I did run some twine from this trellis to that trellis. I was going to trellis the whole garage, but I have decided on a big project for next year, so very likely this part of the garage will not be here next year. That shall be revealed at a later time. But the Ruby Moon, Hyacinth Bean are climbing up. I think I should run another piece of twine for this. Isn't it good for this guy here? So they're climbing, climbing, climbing. Oh, but back to this bed. If you are new to this tour, my tours, they are extremely chaotic. And that's one of the reasons I am a gardener and I like gardening, because if you are someone who has both periods of intense focus and a sort of wandering brain, it's the perfect hobby for you, because there's always something else to do. This is, I believe, a loofah, and I just stuck it here when it needed to go somewhere, and now it's kind of climbing, and I don't know if this snowball viburnum is gonna make it, so I'm kind of just letting the vine go over, and I'm letting it sort of clamber on top of other things, and if it gets long enough, I'm gonna run it up the bird feeder pole. So we'll see what that looks like. But everything out here is an experiment. Look at this poor sedum. I had the rain barrel here, and there was a windy day, and it wasn't quite full, and it fell over and it smashed the sedum. But this is a testament to how hardy these plants are, because she's fine. I could probably cut it back down here, and it would regrow from all these little nodes where the leaves were. But you know what? It's fine. Or, as we say, good enough. This is some tobacco plant. I did get it as a start. I tried to grow this from seed this year and had no luck. This is another one of those cannas with the really beautiful coloring. What are you called? I don't remember. I think I got this tuber at Menards. Okay, let's finish the veggie bed first, and then we'll come over here. Oh, we got a couple other dahlias. This is Tapioca. So the first year that I planted dahlias, I ordered a bunch, and then I got a freebie, and the variety they sent me was called Tapioca, and I looked it up and I was like, wow, who cares? And I planted it, and it grew fabulously. It was huge, and it had these really beautiful white, sort of like maybe 5-inch blooms, and I was really impressed by it, especially considering it was one I did not want to begin with. So then last year I actually ordered the tuber on purpose, and it grew okay. It wasn't super happy in the spot I had it in. So this year it got its own pot, and it should get another, I'm guessing it'll grow another foot or so, and then really start pumping out some blooms. This is one that is in a pot, so it remains to be seen for me how much the pots restrict the growth of the tubers, because they were pretty reasonably sized tubers when I planted them. They do get huge over the summer, so it could be that this plant doesn't get as big as it should because it's a little bit constricted by the pot. But that's why we like gardening. It's an experiment, and it's doing fine in the meantime. So if it's not perfect, that's okay. It's still a plant that's here. The sun has come out. The other plant over here I'm excited about is this Crocosmia. Early in the season, the squirrels had gotten to this pot, and I thought they pulled up all the tubers, or sorry, all of the corms, and they didn't. And I have one flower spike, and I'm really excited for it. I hope I get a few more, but this is my first time growing this plant, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like. Over here, so we're back in the veggie patch here. This is a arm from the tomatillo plant. I only ever plant one because they get so huge and uncontrollable, and they always have way more fruit than I need. I'm not super great at preserving things or making big batches of salsa or whatever, so I have to be realistic about what I will reasonably eat in the summer, because I mostly eat everything fresh. I'm not great about like freezing or canning things for the winter. I wish I was. Maybe I will be someday, but it's just not right now. Looks like we have some little ears of corn. Look at that. I don't know if these are gonna be good, or they look kind of small. I'll probably just let them hang out and maybe use them for decoration. There is a nasturtium in here. And I was talking to a friend about how I didn't know there were vining and climbing nasturtiums, and I was gonna buy some seed, and then I looked at the ones that I have planted here and they are totally climbing. Look at this. Climbing. So that's fun. This is, I believe it's called Empress of India, maybe? Empress of something or other. And I got these seeds in a seed swap, a flower seed swap, and kind of forgot about them last year. And then this year, soaked them and threw them down, and look at all those. They look great. So I'm really happy with those. I'll definitely try to save some seeds, both for myself and for the flower seed swap, because I will definitely do that again this winter. Here we have another cucumber. I used to be able to grow cucumbers from seed, no problem. I used to have a whole field of cucumbers in one of the apartments I lived in, and Etta would go in there and she would steal them and chew on them. And for some reason I have not had good luck growing them here, so at least from seed. So now I just buy the starts, but that is perfectly fine. Over here we have some more coneflower. These are kind of crowding out the climbing rows I have here. So I may actually dig some of these up and move them out front, because there's a lot of them all packed in here. Look at all those. This is their natural habitat. When we talk about native plants, a lot of times they're native to maybe somewhere near us, but maybe not necessarily the exact place that we are. Coneflower is very much indigenous to southeastern Minnesota, and you can tell because it thrives and it feeds lots of native insects and birds. Let's see, over here, I figured out the mystery of this dahlia. This is indeed Japanese bishop, so I had just assumed wrong because I'm a ding dong. But I do think that this dahlia, Japanese bishop, and one that I have over here that I'll show you in a second, and one over there, Rip City, they all look almost the same to me. So I don't know if it's that I'm attracted to varieties that look the same, or if the tubers got mixed up or what, but I can't really see a difference in them. Ugh, I just love this verbena. I'm so happy it grew. This is one that I tried for ages to sow. It's not really a plant that you can get as a start around here. And here's another one. Last year I tried to grow it, didn't have any luck. I got maybe one flower out of it. And this year I have had much better luck. And I did them all as winter sowing in jugs that I put outside, so that's obviously the way to go with these. An elephant ear that I did not think was gonna make it, and then just when I was about to give up, it started growing, so that's great. We have another, oh, here's another verbena. They just it's almost like they glow. They're so cool. And I think I can cut them and they'll get bigger. So next year I will pinch them out and let them get more bushy. So I finally put easier to read labels on my dahlias, and so now we can tell which is which a little bit easier. Finally have buds on my cafe au lait, which is very exciting. And then if we go into the vegetable bed here, got some tomatoes coming in. Oh, that's a big boy back there. And my jalapenos have been doing great. Got a ton of fruit on here. And same thing on, I think this is a banana pepper. I really want to grow Hungarian hot wax again, but I haven't had luck with those seeds. Oh yeah, here we go. That's a banana pepper. And we have the little fish peppers here. I grew these because I really like how the pepper plant looks. It has this really pretty variegation. And I don't, let's see if this will come off. Oh, okay. I don't know what you use fish peppers for. Like, what's the best way to ingest them? Do I want to put them fresh into like a salsa or a pico, oh hello, or a pico de gallo, or do I want to cook them? Let me know. What do you do with fish peppers? We can see we've got a lot of nice calendula here. And here's another one of those nasturtiums. You can see she's starting to climb over there. It's just Tomato City over here. Oh, and I do have an eggplant. I usually only grow 1 or 2 eggplants. We do like to make curries, so we use them for that. Yeah, look at this tomatillo. Just tomato forest. I have, over the years, tried many different ways of trellising tomatoes. I have used cages. I have built a big sort of scaffolding that I tied string to, so I did the string method. I've tried the Florida weave. This, as messy as it looks, and this depends on the kind of gardener you are, but this works for me. I like to be aggressive early on, doing a lot of pinching out with the tomatoes, but ultimately I kind of like them to romp away, and I like them to get a little wild. It's what they want to do. Tomatoes are vines and they're really cool plants. So even though I've tried all these different methods, I do think that if you have something you can attach the twine to, oh, there's another sucker, then I do think the string method works really well. That has been like the neatest, tidiest way for me. There's another one. But it's all a matter of preference, and it's all about how you want your garden to look and how you want to feel when you're out there. And I like it to feel a little bit wild. I want the plants to have some opportunity to do what they want to do, because my philosophy is that me and the plants and all the critters are like artists working in collaboration. So it's not just all about what I want. Let's go to the pollinator bed. The perennial ornamental onions are starting to bud out. These have spread so well. I bought 3 plants, maybe, get out of the sun here. I bought 3 plants probably 5 or 6 years ago, and they have really started to naturalize, so now I get a lot of nice baby plants that I can move around. We have another dahlia here. I didn't make a sign for this one. This one is Jennifer's Wedding. Oh, it's a purple one. I thought I put orange ones over here, but shows how much I remember. The black-eyed Susans are all in bloom. This is their moment. They look fabulous with that purple. I think I said it on the last video I did, but this bed has been kind of tricky to figure out what its deal is, but I think it's really hitting its stride, and I'm really happy with it. This is a dogwood that I got as a tiny little stick from like an Earth Day thing. And then all of this catmint has been divisions and propagations. I'm going to do a propagation video very soon. So if you want to see how to easily propagate some of your perennials that are gonna be really hardy and make a big impact, be sure to look out for that. Yeah, sedum and catmint are kind of staples for me. They're so easy to take care of, and they just want to grow wherever you put them. Yeah, this looks really nice. This is a new hydrangea that was on clearance at Fleet Farm. That's how you know you're in Minnesota. You have Fleet Farm, not Farm and Fleet. And over here, the purple butterfly bush is doing really well. I need to deadhead it, but you can see there are new buds coming in. This bleeding heart and the other one back there are springtime plants, and they are starting to look a little bit stressed. I might just completely cut them back. There's a big sedum here that I removed next to this climbing hydrangea, and I need to find something to replace it because that empty spot is kind of crying out to me. This is a climbing hydrangea I bought like 3 years ago, and I had all this trellising around it. It wasn't doing anything. You can see it's got these long runners over here, and I finally read some more about it and realized that it uses suckers, so it wants to stick to something. So that's why the trellis wasn't working, because it doesn't wind around. It uses little suckers. So it's sending out little shoots to the fence, and I'm hoping it'll climb up. The new redbud tree is doing great. It is defoliating a little bit, but that's pretty normal. I have been watering it very religiously, and since we finally got some rain and it's cooling off a little bit, I took the bag off, so now I'm just watering it with the hose. This is a new rose. What is it called? You can see these are not usually my primary concerns. What? Out of the blue. This is from our little local sort of farm stand flower nursery, and they were having all of their plants were on sale, and they were selling roses 2 for 1, and I went with my garden BFF, and we each got a rose for half price, so that worked out great. I really like this one because when the buds open, they are a pretty intense color, and then they start fading, and it smells really nice. And right after I planted it, I put on a bunch of new growth, so good deal for 15 bucks, huh? This is another rose. I think this is a great testament to why, ooh, that smells good. This is a great testament to why gardening is one of those very few things that actually is for everyone, because you can get as fancy as you want. Like, you can buy expensive David Austin roses, and you can order dahlias online, or you can just wait for them to go on sale at a big box store like Menards or Home Depot. Get them for cheap, and with enough time they'll take off. This was definitely like a $10 Home Depot rose, and she looks great. This is the second flush of blooms. This is a planter I stuck here. So this side of the garden is probably the newest, and this is the first year I've been halfway pleased with how it looks. I did not have any shrubs over here for a long time and no trees, and so I just felt like it looked really flat. But now that I've got this white pine, and this is a viburnum, the hydrangea back there, the big Sum and Substance hosta, I feel like it has a little bit more structure now. This blank area is torturing me a little bit, but we'll figure something out to get that filled in eventually. Look, this is another cheap Home Depot rose, and this is its second flush of blooms this summer. And this is one of my David Austin Generous Gardener roses, and this was like, I mean, you saw this earlier in the spring. It was like less than half this size, and then all of a sudden we got a bunch of rain and it warmed up, and in July it just shot up. There's this one, another big shoot back here, and it's just looking fabulous. So great job, you. Yeah, so this is the other dahlia I was saying, eccentric. I think it looks almost exactly like Japanese bishop, except you can't see. Look, you can see the center. Maybe I'm missing something. You tell me. And our planters over here looking great. Oh my gosh, look at that blue. Woo-wee. Oh my gosh, Eileen. The hummingbirds are always over here. There are for sure 2 females that both consider my garden their territory, and they take turns coming to check out the salvias, and sometimes they fight, which is awesome. But both of them seem to be fine with me because they come very close to my face. Nothing new at the pond. I just like to look at it. Fish are very happy. They eat all the mosquito larvae. Oh, this is another one. This one is called Deborah Renee, and she's got some buds too. This one I think is, let's find her tag. I think that one is supposed to be an orange. I hope so anyway. Oh, here we go. Official tag. Black, red. Ooh, that should be cool. Hopefully it is true to the label. This is an experiment. I've never kept guppies outside before, but because they are tropical freshwater fish, but it's so warm that I've been experimenting with it. And even though you can't see any, it is murky. I'm gonna do a video about cleaning out the ponds and the pond pumps. But the guppies are in there. I just saw them the other day. There's a lot more than I remember putting in there, so either I just didn't count correctly or they have started breeding, which would be cool too. Okay, so it's approximately 10,000 days since I started this video because I got distracted and my sister called me, and I was just sitting out here watching all the birds, which is exactly what I should be doing out here. And I just got a text from one of my best friends about birds. So this is the perfect garden morning. It should be about relaxing and spending time with people you love and connecting with the plants and animals and yourself. So it doesn't really matter how distracted I get or we get. Just being out here is what matters. I hope that at this point in the summer, maybe if you are also Midwestern, and this is the part of the summer where the garden is really hitting its stride and it's really kind of doing its own thing. All of the intense planting is pretty much finished. The main task this time of year is really just watering, you know, keeping things tidy if that's what you want to do. I'm not really planting a ton of things right now, but all in all, I hope that you are not only enjoying your time in the garden, but letting go where you can. I think that if there's anything I have learned from gardening over the years, it's that I am working with the environment and the plants and the animals, not against them. Have a wonderful day. I hope you get outside, and just remember your garden is good enough. See you later.